But overall, I didn't need to be a Polanski completist, and here we are.
I feel like "and here we are" is the perfect phrase that one would use after watching this movie. And here we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Right
good
back
night.
where we fucking started.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a poem. It rhymes. It's circular. I mean, that's what George Lucas said. So, you know, they're just
about this movie.
No, in general. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pirates of all ages, I am your host of the Kulturecast, Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined by my two good friends all the way from the Midwest. Well, they're both in the Midwest. All the way from a academic institution near you, your friend and mine, Spencer Parsons.
Hello.
And all the way from also the Midwest, not currently being irradiated, though we can't confirm that, to be fair, one of the hosts of Scary Stories We Tell, Jess Byard.
Yeah, I'm like an hour away from that. Well, maybe not quite an hour.
Jess, you're positively glowing, literally.
For far enough away for it to be fine-ish, probably.
Ish. Well, tell us.
I live in Ohio. That's the least of my concerns.
That's fair. Well, speaking
on
of
a day-to-day basis.
Speaking of concerns that one might have, on this episode of the Kulturecast, we're kicking off Marrr-ch, which is all about pirate movies. Marrr-ch, as one might say, with a look at Roman Polanski's 1968 film, in quotations, Roman Polanski's
Chris,
Pirates.
You mean a swashbuckling comedy adventure film?
If that was what this was, I would have said that.
That's what it was supposed to be.
So yeah, on this episode of the Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about Roman Polanski's Pirate.
Set sail for a world of adventure. Come on! They were the most dreaded buccaneers to roam the seven seas. Men who fought for glory, love, and gold. Go! They braved shipwreck and battled treachery in the search for glorious adventure. They were pirates. Walter Matthau in Roman Polanski's Pirates.
So the film is directed by Polanski. It is produced by Tarak Ben Ammar. That will come into play later when we talk about it. Stars Walter Matthau, Chris Campion, and Damian Thomas. And who does Walter Matthau play? Well, he plays Captain Red, a pirate who's joined by his first mate or cabin boy, I guess, Jean-Baptiste, nicknamed Frog. And they get into all kinds of crazy adventures involving the Spanish and a Aztec throne. And you know what? A lot of stuff happens. I'm not sure any of it's really important because this movie, like we kind of already mentioned in the lead-in, is a total fucking mess.
A lot of stuff happens, and yet it is just boring as sin.
So, Spencer, I'm going to kick it to you first. You had mentioned that you are a Polanski completist, and this is a movie you'd been waiting on. So, did it live up to the expectations?
It lived down to the expectations that I've been encouraged to have with this item. And look, as a Polanski completist, I've seen some bad movies. So I do love his work, but this is this one is a low point on many counts. I mean, there are points of interest, that maybe we'll get into. But I actually remember as a kid reading about this movie before I had ever seen a Polanski film. The title of Pirates made me excited because I was a kid and like a pirate movie sounded great. Walter Matthau was sort of a strange casting choice, and I was like, wow, Walter Matthau. And then like I read this review that just demolished the film. It was actually like, I don't remember who it was. It was like I was living in Florida, so it was probably whoever was the reviewer for the Miami Herald at the time, who just fucking demolished it. And the review was pretty funny, and that kind of stayed with me over the years. And I've thought about watching it many times, but just it's one of those where its reputation is so infamous that I've always thank you for allowing me this opportunity, because it kind of needed an occasion to bother with this particular movie.
What about you, Jess? I know you also you chose to subject yourself to this. This was not an assignment film. This was a choice of subjection.
It was. I am going to say that I feel like I came to the sign-up list late.
Oh, that's what it is.
I was had limited in my choices, and I will not thank you, Chris, for allowing me this opportunity. this movie was damn near insufferable for me to get through. I'm sure we'll get into Polanski and the Polanski-ness of it all.
Yeah.
And I love some of his movies. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I do not. I absolutely do. But this is not one of them, and for a multitude of reasons. And I had never seen it before, so
this fits into its own strange subgenre of Polanski comedies, and I love Polanski's sense of humor, but his comedies are not the best venue for his sense of humor.
No, and here's the thing: is I agree, because I like his comedy in his kind of surrealist world, right? Like in Cul-de-sac and stuff like that. But in this, where we're point blank kind of Treasure Island-y style, you're being
fucking generous, Jess.
For kids. Well, just to give the aesthetic. No, but just to give the aesthetic, because like the only nice thing that I can say about this movie is the costumes and the galleon ship look fucking cool. Like, it all looks really cool. I will give them that.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that, but for this time, this was supposed to be a fun swashbuckling adventure movie for kids that was supposed to be funny. And about 20 minutes into the movie, I somehow had missed that it was supposed to be funny in the description of the movie. And I was looking and I was like, he thinks this is supposed to be a comedy. And then I was reading about it, and he mentions, there's an interview with Roman Polanski stating that something along the lines of he, was making a movie for kids that kids could have fun with, and it's okay if the adults don't get it. And I'm like, that is a bullshit cop-out answer, that you made a bad movie and adults don't get it because it's only funny to kids. It is talking down to children. And also, you don't get to talk to children.
Yeah.
It is an expensive movie. And I will say that like the money is at once very poorly spent and very well spent. Like I do love the costumes, and I love a lot of the settings, and the ship is amazing, and then they get to some studio sets that they do some work in that are just like
that fucking carving that comes out, like when you get the first when the ship first comes into view and you get the long like pan up to look, your tilt up to look, and we're seeing this like big carved statue of some like whatever god. It looks really fucking cool. And then it stops, and then Walter Matthau starts talking. Well, actually, it doesn't stop there. That's not even where it starts. It starts in the opening scene when we use the oldest Looney Tune trick in the book of Walter Matthau's character of Red seeing his cabin boy as a delectable treat because he's starving, and chasing him around this raft after trying to bite his bare ass.
So, Jess, you mentioned
I hope you make that into a nice little TikTok fucking audio.
This is just for that. So, Jess, you mentioned Polanski's not allowed to talk to kids. And correct. For a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Right. And look, I feel like we need to mention it at the top. None of us are condoning what Roman Polanski did.
No.
At all.
I
None
like
of us
Roman Polanski's movies. And he should definitely have spent a lot of time in jail. These are both things can be true.
Right, exactly. And I think that's, in this day and age, I get that people want to cancel and deplatform and all that. And I get it. It's fine. We all have our own druthers. But I feel like if you're going to discuss something like this, it behooves us to just get it out in the open. We're not condoning it, but we still need to have a conversation about this movie, because boy, this movie might be the biggest waste of time on this show to watch. The conversation is going to be great. I can already tell. But the movie itself is in a lot of ways an affront to good and common sense. And Roman Polanski trying to pass it off as a kid's movie is the biggest bullshit I've heard since Tommy Wiseau said, "Oh, The Room was a comedy." You're a fucking liar. This movie looks good, and that's it. And there's one scene in this movie that's good. And I feel like it's the scene that the movie's known for. And it requires Walter Matthau to eat a fake boiled rat. And that's about it. And that's like in the first 30 minutes. And then you're bombarded with bullshit for the next hour and 10 minutes. Because like Jess mentioned, movie is 8 minutes shy of 2 hours. And it feels like fucking 4 or 5 hours.
And we have recently, Chris and I together, have watched some very long movies in the last several months. And this one felt like I was just so unspeakably bored. Like it is a paint by numbers adventure movie in that pirates get taken on by, whatever military people here, basically, for they spend some time on the ship, they do piratey things, then they inevitably take over the ship, and it's just the back and forth constantly, and it's such a paint by numbers thing that you don't have to really watch this movie. You could turn it on, you could watch it like in 5-minute increments, like just watch the first 5 minutes of the first act, 5 minutes of the second act, and 5 minutes of the third act, and you got it. Because pretty much nothing else of substance happened throughout to string this plot together.
No, and it's so a lot of there's an amount of money that has been spent on it that only within the historical context of when it was made, a director like Polanski could have managed to get. Like this is truly an enormous production and requires a very high profile director in order to do it. But then that said, aside from some very like the jokes don't work, and as I was saying earlier, like Polanski's comedies are not the best venue for his sense of humor, and this one is definitely chief offender in that category. But it's only the kind of bad jokes that really distinguish this even as a Polanski movie in many respects, because I'm watching it and just like waiting. So at the very beginning, when they're on this raft, I'm like, oh, the photography's pretty, but it's constrained because they're on a raft. And then they get on the ship, and it's kind of like, okay, there's a whole lot of people on the ship, and the photography, the sense of like tension and the blocking and everything, and the way that Polanski can put together a scene, it's constrained because he's dealing with setting up the ship, and I'm just waiting for some point in this movie where the visual language is going to become Polanski's, and it never arrives. It's like, no, it's not like they just hired any random TV movie director or something like that. But it's actually, the style of this film is pretty anonymous, while having a lot that is like weird. But yeah, it's this makes, when we're talking pirate movies, this makes Gore Verbinski look like it looked like a much. I like Gore Verbinski, okay, but it makes him look like one of the greatest directors of all time. It makes him look like Roman Polanski by comparison with this version of Roman Polanski.
Somehow this better. Somehow this makes Cutthroat Island look way better than it has any right to be.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
Well, and I mean, it's fun. You say they hired Roman Polanski, but this is a movie that he wanted to make. That he actively was struggling to make for so long that like he wanted to make this right after Chinatown, and then he had to flee the country, and
as you do, right?
And a variety of other things, funding issues, these issues, whatever. And that it took 10 years for him to finally get to make this movie that he evidently just wanted to make something fun and entertaining. And it is the least fun and entertaining movie you could make about pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates are inherently at least exciting. Like the idea of being, yes, like you said, it's constrained. And I do feel like, yeah, you're right. Photography is very anonymous, but I feel like the story and everything is very Polanski. It's just these very sweaty, weird characters that are in a very tight space together.
Yeah.
Sweating it out until one of them loses their mind, or they all lose their mind. And here we go. And it is a Polanski movie in that sense, but without the talent. Sorry, Walter Matthau, but without the talent, without the real story and character, because there's no real characters in this movie. They're all very just they're just very two-dimensional, exaggerated characters. There's no personalities. There's no real interesting conflicts or desires that any of the characters have, other than to just be pirates or just be a part of, the ship cavalry, and that's it. That's all we have. And a cool shark at one point.
I like the shark. I did like the shark.
Yeah.
I will. I guess this isn't a shark movie, but it has just enough good fake shark action that it
does. Yes,
pleases me on that.
Like
level.
You could just cut that out and put it in some Italian shark movie that's been pieced together from other movies.
Yes,
and this would work perfectly fine.
I just watched Joe D'Amato's Deep Blood this week, and
perfect.
That I had a much better time with that. And that's a shark movie put together from some very strange pieces. But
and I feel like this movie does feel, like I said, it feels like a Polanski movie in that, like, the way I described. But because he was aiming to make a movie, quote unquote, for kids and in like this adventure-y sort of way, he chopped everything out of his work that makes him interesting, like makes him an interesting filmmaker. And makes it so that this, people will still talk about his movies to this day. And aside from this one.
Well, and then beneath it, it still remains kind of, like, not in a good way, but as a quote unquote children's film, there are a lot of elements that are just like weird and pervy and adult that keep sort of intruding.
This is a real uncomfortable movie for the fact that he was making it during a time when he was under investigation and being charged for all of these things, and it comes out big time in this movie, and at points it's very uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think about rape, but it's always a joke in my movie. Like Polanski, what were you think? Like, what there is a scene where Walter Matthau goes, all right, well, rape her then. And it's like, what
for kids.
For the kids, for the kids.
No, exactly. Like Treasure Island and other pirate movies. That's the thing, is that Polanski might be trying, but he just cannot succeed. And I even get it as being, it's gross. I even get it as being like his sort of sense of humor within the context of such a movie to add something like, but it's not, it doesn't work. And it's not some conception of pirates that is more, in some way, like more realistic.
It is. And I mean, look, if he had made a pirate movie, if he had made an adult pirate movie, we might be having a different conversation. But he made a pirate movie that was supposed to be for family audiences, that, was inspired by his love of going to Disney World or Disneyland or whatever the fuck and riding on the pirate ride. And it was like, I want to make a movie about this. And it was just, the culmination of the timing and it all just so much waste of time, just such a waste of time of a movie to make, it seems, and to also watch, obviously, as we've talked about. I don't know. This movie.
The Pirates of the Caribbean ride has a deeper narrative through line than this movie does. There's actually a story in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And I know that they've since added Jack Sparrow into the ride in a meta move that is about as insane as it goes. I'm with you on that. But there's more of a storyline in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride that Polanski claims to love so much than is in his own movie.
Who among us does not love the Pirates of the Caribbean ride? But that doesn't necessarily.
You would like it, Jess. It's a classic.
I'm sure
ride.
it's a great time.
It's sure just like this movie,
better
but better.
Oh, great! Then I don't want it.
But like, what's funny is
are there people eating slop off the ground because that's a funny thing, I guess.
But there are parts in this movie where I was watching it, like when they start mutinying on the boat and you see the pirates like grabbing the Spaniards and like picking them up and dropping them and stuff, slapstick comedy. And all I could think of was Pirates of the Caribbean. The ride where you see, people chasing each other and doing stuff. Like there's no story here. There's no story there. Like
you also don't have a Hans Zimmer soundtrack helping you out. Like
it's fair. Hey, look, I like those Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I ain't gonna pretend like.
No, I'm not gonna pretend I don't either. I like the first couple of them. I don't love all of them. I do like the first 2 or 3. Like they're fun. They are fun family swashbuckling adventure movies that are in the vein of a treasure island type of movie. And it worked well. And for what, as far as, though it's been beaten to death, Johnny Depp was a good Captain Jack Sparrow. It was a good character. He did it well. He was a great for the part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walter Matthau is not.
So this is the first thing with it that this even struck me, back to reading about it when I was a child. It struck me as a poor casting move when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old, and I read about the existence of this movie. Like, it's Walter Matthau. I was familiar with. My parents are big like Neil Simon people, so I'd seen that kind of stuff with him, and I was like, where does Walter Matthau fit into a pirate movie? And I'm still asking this question now, like 30 odd years later.
And I'd never seen Grumpy Old Men before, but I've seen The Odd Couple. I'd see the critically acclaimed Out to Sea, which is a great, just a true cinematic.
Side note, I as a child was a huge fan of Grumpy Old Men for some reason.
I love Walter Matthau in that movie. Walter Matthau is a good actor.
Yeah, he's a funny old man character, not a pirate.
He's 56 at this point. Like what who was like, oh, we need a really believable hero in our swashbuckling movie. Well, Jack Nicholson wanted too much money and literally just kept asking for money. So Walter Matthau, like that's what logic, what there were so many places you could have gone in between. It was just like, not Walter Matthau.
No, and again, it's the kind of thing where all right, so when I like a director and I've heard that a film is just notoriously bad, and there's an element like Walter Matthau cast as a pirate in there, I kind of go in sort of hoping that is a deliberately perverse choice that's going to be interesting. And then it is not. He is simply miscast.
So did you guys read, Chris, I'm sure this is in your notes, but did you guys read the, how Walter Matthau came to take this part?
It's like what Bob Hoskins said about Mario. It's like, why fucking are you doing this? Oh, my kid said it would be fun.
But he said he didn't like the script. He thought it wasn't funny. He thought it didn't make sense. He didn't want to do the movie, did not like it. And all because his little kid was like, Dad, you should work with Roman Polanski, one of the greatest directors of our day. And I'm like, bullshit, your kid said that. You needed money, I think. I don't know. Someone said you needed to do this for some reason. Or you made a mistake, and then in hindsight, we're like, no, I didn't want to do it at all. My kid made this.
No, it is my son's fault. The one in the corner, blame him.
The Lord.
I mean, if he said that his kid wanted him to work with Roman Polanski, I think he's pulling our leg.
Pulling something.
Pulling something.
I guess Michael Caine was attached at one point, which...
Oh, that
could have been okay. I at least would like to enjoy I like watching Michael Caine. Like he's at least a charismatic actor that would probably have put something of interest, and he would chew the scenery the entire time. So
yeah, no, I could see Michael Caine sort of livening things up. But this just feels, it's interesting because again, like you can see the money on screen with the sets and costumes, and like there's beautiful craft to the team that Polanski assembled to make this possible. But it also just kind of shows that like nothing else about it can afford to be interesting. Like that it's such a heavy lift to get all these people and these sets and these costumes and the water, all happening together, that we're just gonna get a very basic kind of thing with some occasional very weird and very inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I come back to the scene with the rat where him and Chris Campion have to eat a boiled rat. Walter Matthau and Chris Campion are essentially fed a rat that's been cut in half. And it was the only scene in the movie where I laughed because it was proper absurd. Like watching Walter, it's the only movie I can say where I've watched Walter Matthau cut a boiled rat's tail off and then start chewing on the rat parts. Like, and like that's proper disgusting. And that's what you think of when you think of pirates being out in the high seas and,
right, having to do whatever.
Yeah, but like, Beyond that, the comedy is really relegated to Walter Matthau, like more or less. Like it's there.
And he's funny in the grumpy old man way. He's not funny in a very versatile way to take on a leading over the top villainous character. He's not an over the top actor. He's like the quiet, just curmudgeonly man. Like when you're playing like this villain, like think we go, talked about the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and you think of like Barbossa from the first one, right?
Yeah.
It's Jeffrey Rush, and he's, hamming it up the whole damn time. He's fantastic. He played Vincent Price in a movie, and in a Vincent Price-like character in the House on Haunted Hill remake, and knocked that out of the park. So yeah, somebody to pull off that kind of just atmosphere is what you need here. But Walter Matthau just blends in to everything.
Yeah. I guess the thing that's interesting to me is I'm, for the sake of conversation, because we are, now recording this conversation for people to listen to. One of the things that is fascinating and sort of defeats me about this movie, the terrible reputation that it has. I guess I kind of wrongly thought that it would be full of kind of grotesque, ridiculous, kind of poorly done outrages, but it is actually just mostly boring and undistinguished, and so I don't know, I'm here for the movies that have the kind of wretched excess where to me it doesn't matter whether the movie is bad or good. And I was kind of, my sincerest hope going into this one, given its reputation, was that it was going to be that kind of movie. And like, as you say, Cutthroat Island starts to look pretty good, but Cutthroat Island is a little bit more that kind of movie, a sort of wretched excess, full of bad ideas, shaken vigorously. But this is not that. I mean, I'm reaching for any particular thing to discuss, and I'm left with maybe that's a pretty fun fake snake in the one scene. There's like pretty nice rubber snake. My favorite this side of the King Kong 1979 remake. That they did, but 78. But the Dino De Laurentiis. I think I'm fucking up the year.
Yeah.
But the De Laurentiis King Kong,
Jessica Lange.
That's got a really great rubber snake in it. And so does Pirates. But
what is it with pirate movies post the classic age of cinema?
That's
all
a really good
being
question.
So like, I guess like I'm not going to say bad. I think it's a varying range of bad to underwhelming. Yeah. And I don't get it, because if you look at the time and the other kinds of movies that were coming back from the similar time, like Arthurian stories, like
right.
Excalibur, that movie came out and wasn't poorly received the way this movie was.
Well,
and
right, but
it's trading on that
great.
same. Yeah, well, I know, but my point is, like, movies like that tend to come out and be okay, like medieval movies, but pirate movies, for whatever reason, for like 20 plus years until Pirates of the Caribbean came out, were just kind of across the board bad to underwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you can, in the kind of Arthurian world, the fantasy world, there's that genre allows itself to have a bit more quiet, contemplative atmosphere to it, right? Like there's a lot of moments in movies like that where it's just, this very enchanted ethereal forest, and we're learning very deep lessons about ourselves and things like that through all of these magical worlds. In pirate movies, I mean, they're action movies. They're adventure on the high seas. You are on a boat. You need to figure out how to make that interesting. Like you don't have this magical world to disappear into that people want to linger in, right? Like you want to see all of the cool worlds in Lord of the Rings, and you want to see all of the cool worlds and all the Jim Henson movies and all of these things. But on a pirate ship boat, you need to be with interesting characters that have high stakes, because you're pirates and you're fighting other pirates, or you're fighting soldiers in a battle, like with cannons and stuff like that. And I think that during this time period, I don't really know if that was just like falling out of interest with the general public, but fantasy kind of always holds the general public's interest in some sort of way. Or if it was due to like, just like, look, like Pirates of the Caribbean is really cool because it came out in the time it did. And there is a lot of, CG stuff happening, right? We're seeing a lot of cool shit happening all at once that wouldn't have necessarily been possible back in the day. We're getting to a lot more exotic locations too, because we're having massive budgets for like these Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So we're not locked into like a weird studio or like a big lake that or even just, the regular ocean that you can't go too far out into. You have to make sure that you're very safe in.
That is maybe an interesting shift. There's more of this done on and around actual ocean than, for instance, like an Errol Flynn movie or like one of those great swashbucklers from before. So I can see the potential difficulty there. But then on the other hand, like the artifice of like whenever they're shooting entirely in a studio and you can tell and there's like a backdrop for a sky, the movie is actually like more beautiful in those moments than when they're sort of on the high seas and whatnot. But it is an interesting question to ask, because I wonder what about the pirates sort of thing, like why not recapture the spirit of Errol Flynn or whatever? And they tried around this time, because there's also the pirate movie, which is really bad.
It's a musical, right?
It is, yeah. It's kind of a musical, yeah. So there's the pirate movie, and then well, this is a different kind of a thing, and it doesn't totally work. But I'll watch Yellowbeard again before I watch Pirates again. So that's
another
also
one this month, and I have not seen it yet, but I know it is also a bad movie.
Yeah, so it does not have a very good reputation, but I kind of imagine you're going to enjoy yourself a little bit more with Yellowbeard than with this one. But so one thing that's kind of potentially interesting here, but that they don't go anywhere with. So the casting, especially considering like I'm talking about like the casting of the ship, not Walter Matthau. But in terms of the look of the ship and having like an racially integrated group of pirates at this time, that's a change from like the Errol Flynn style, like older films. No, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's sort of like, yes, they're closer to history in terms of the composition of the ship, but then it doesn't, not great roles really for a more diverse cast here in Pirates.
Yeah.
I mean, Olu Jacobs is the butt of the joke, the final joke of the movie, and it's like, what? Like,
no, I know.
I am dead now, Captain. Like, great
cool.
movie, hilarious.
I do not expect this. I don't expect it to be a progressive movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I kind of, when I see the look of, again, it's another another big disappointment about the film. Like, I look at the cast and it seems like there's an opportunity even to be offensive in trying to do something like more historically accurate or whatever. Meet the historical accuracy level a little bit better than previous pirate films.
And here's I think where, another thing to be factored in when we're talking about maybe why these pirate movies didn't do so, like why they didn't do so well, and that which thus led to kind of like no pirate movies for a long time until the Pirates of the Caribbean movies basically brought that kind of back into fashion. And even still, how many other pirate movies have we seen outside of those?
Very few.
And here's the reason why, and here's a big reason why I think that is, because if you're going to do a realistic pirate thing, oh boy, that's not for families.
That's not for families at all. It's super bloody and very sexual and like really fucked up. Yeah.
And which I think, that would sell. That would definitely, that does sell.
I'll be there opening night. Yeah, I'd
go see that. But here's the thing. They're trying these movies, these ones that came out in the 80s, and even Pirates of the Caribbean to an extent, the emulation of the Errol Flynn era movie, that's all fine and great. But it doesn't appeal to modern audiences. It didn't appeal to modern audiences in 1986. Like okay, fine, that very wholesome, kind of, but Walter Matthau isn't Errol Flynn either. You don't have this very flamboyant, elegant, graceful man flitting about a screen entertaining you in his leotard. Like,
and there isn't anybody else who fits that bill either. It's not like that. That's the thing, is it's
you can't recreate it. It was a time and space and group of people, and it was because in that time period, it was the new world of film, and seeing people create these worlds that nobody could even envision, that the normal person couldn't even fathom that they'd ever be able to see in their life. Fast forward to 1986. Yeah, fantasy does great because fantasy's ostensibly new-ish in the film world then. Like, it's getting, it got its legs in the 70s and is like having a lot of success in the 80s. Sure, there's been fantasy books for, all time, but in the movie world and the television world, it becomes very popular during this time because it's a newer thing that people aren't used to seeing, because there were new advances in technology. So you could do some more sci-fi and fantasy stuff. But with pirate movies, you can either do them in an Errol Flynn style, and you better hope that you find somebody who can do an Errol Flynn type thing, like Johnny Depp, which is basically a variation of what he's doing in that, is something from that very exaggerated old-timey Hollywood style of acting.
Well, then you get Orlando Bloom, who's even more the traditional kind of
right.
The handsome, dashing, swashbuckling pirate, while
right.
While Depp is,
you have the straight man, funny man dynamic.
Exactly. So yeah, there is a way. I mean, there's even I don't know. This is a man. What a way to kick off your pirate month, Chris.
I know. Yar me mateys, we be sucking it hard. Like, it's well, when we're talking about pirates, I mean, obviously there have been 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies now.
Yeah,
which is an insanity. And Jess, you mentioned there's, some of them kind of are okay after the first one. I think the other thing that you kind of touched on, Jess, that sets the pirate movies apart, it is the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a secret sci-fi movie. It's like a horror movie. It's
a culmination of genre,
right? Yeah. And that's
an adventure movie.
And I think that's why it works in spite of all these other movies not working. Is if you're gonna do a pirate movie, you can't just do a pirate movie anymore. It's got to be a pirate movie with something else. Like, again, we're not covering it this month, but Monsters or Treasure Planet, where it's Treasure Island in the future.
If you're going to do pirates and you can't do it in a realistic way, or you can't do it in an Our Flag Means Death way, then you want to do it in a way that's going to capture a big audience and keep them there. And how do you do that? Is you make 5 movies that have several different genres all piled into them, so that it is appealing to everyone involved. And it also helps that, Pirates of the Caribbean is a completely manufactured franchise by some of the biggest names in the business and starring some of the biggest names in the business. So it is guaranteed to draw people in no matter what. And you see its decline once some of those names go out, right?
Yeah,
it's fair.
So again, that comes back to kind of the casting situation in this. If Roman Polanski had cast, if Jack Nicholson had taken this role, I think this would be probably, it wouldn't be a good movie still, but oh boy, it would have been a lot more entertaining. Like, that would have been a ridiculous and weird experience. If Michael Caine had taken the role, I think it would have been at least more palatable. If just a more flamboyant or just more, just a bigger personality filled this role that's supposed to carry this entire movie, it could have been fine. You know what I mean? It has a very basic plot of, we haven't really talked about it at all, but I mean, it's a very basic plot of kind of a Moby Dick situation with Red, where he's got this vendetta against, keeping this ship that he's overtaken eventually and getting it back at all costs. And you have a classic love story of, his sidekick falling in love with the only woman basically in the whole thing that's, out of his class area. So there's the whole she's, has to marry this, Spaniard soldier and blah 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 blah. So I mean, there's all those basic plot points and whatever things that fit in a family movie that can carry it along just fine, as long as you have talent that is going to let you be able to actually sit through it and want to be with any of these characters for any amount of time. Because that's the main issue I have with this is like, I don't care about any of these people. I don't like any of them. They're all gross and sweaty and, you know, just it feels like it's trying to almost be a realistic pirate movie, but it's just not going all the way there. So you're just left in this weird, uncomfy limbo of, I don't know when this is going to turn bad. It could turn bad at any moment, and it never does. And it still wants you to believe it's a family movie. And I just feel wrong about that. And maybe that is just a good summation of what Roman Polanski was at the time. But
yeah. I'm down with the gross and sweaty. I just want something cool done with it, you know? And I guess I
just feel uncomfortable because I'm just constricted in this space where nothing is going on, but I'm uncomfortable for some reason.
Yeah. But even for Polanski's bad work, this is hardly the title what is like one of those that's very odd. But this makes what look like a kind of cool little comic masterpiece by Polanski, and those are not words that I would normally say, but in this context, it starts to come together. This makes Fearless Vampire Killers look pretty good, and
I like Fearless Vampire Killers.
All right. Well, I will appreciate some love for Fearless Vampire Killers any day, even though I want to, but cannot quite share. But yeah, you know, there are other ones that are the sort of misfires or whatever, but this is just kind of a total fiasco.
Yeah.
And not a fun fiasco.
And you've mentioned this already, Spencer, but for me, if this movie is going to be this bad, which it is, it should at least be entertainingly bad, as opposed to just, like Jess has mentioned, feeling rote. I mean, it's like they have a bingo scorecard of all the pirate tropes, and they're just checking each one off. Like, there's so
surprised no one had a hook for a hand.
Right.
No, he had a peg leg, Jess. That was the compromise.
Yeah.
But it's like they have everything. Oh, there's an Aztec thing, and there's a female kind of like there's a damsel in distress. Like, there's like they check everything off. Like every box is checked, but it doesn't mean anything ultimately. And I think, you know, a movie that looks nice, which again, look, I don't know how any of y'all watch this movie, but I only found this movie on fucking YouTube.
Yeah, so, same.
Like, that's not going to be a good representation of the quality of the look of the movie. But like you guys have mentioned, it's high production values. It's not like they were sitting on a fucking cardboard raft. But
no, not at all.
It's unfortunate because you don't get to see a lot of it, though, because you are stuck in you're stuck in the bottom of the ship. In like the cabins and everything, squished in with everyone. You don't really get to explore and see. There's like 5 wide shots in this movie. And most of them, when you see them, the whole deck of the ship is covered in people. Like, it's just a crammed movie to me.
Yeah. Well, that's
visually
something I wonder. Maybe that's the thing that so constrains Polanski, because I'm thinking about his best work, and they tend to be movies with, you know, small, tight casts. I mean, even Chinatown, while it has a larger cast because there's a lot of moving around the city, you're only ever dealing with like 3, maybe 4 people at a time. You know, like Jake goes around and talks to like 1 or 2 people for most of that film, and the big crowd scene is at the end, you know, the very end of Chinatown. And you know, Knife in the Water, again, that's like 3 people, you know, for
he made Repulsion when he got put on the back burner for funding when he was going to make this movie. He went and made Repulsion in place, which I love Repulsion, and that's what 2-3 people tops in that movie, like in the entire movie.
No, his movies are like that. Another one of his seafaring movies, and this is one that I do really love, Bitter Moon. While that's on a cruise ship, again, the scene work is generally just a couple of people at a time.
Yeah. It really feels like he doesn't know what to do with that many extras, because most of them, I mean, if you're like, watching this movie, they're not doing much. There's just a lot of people standing around, not even like fake, like doing things. They are all just kind of congregating, like kind of just talking to each other. Like nobody, I think that you're right. Yes, that is a good point. And like looking at, like you look at Rosemary's Baby, Chinatown, Repulsion, The Tenant, all of them, Cul-de-sac, all of them. Like they're very sparse cast. They're really good talent too. Again, that's something we've been talking about. But it's also a sparser cast. And I think that, he doesn't use doing something that big, that because a pirate movie is a big movie.
Yeah.
An adventure movie is a big movie. Like you need, even if it is just you're on a ship, it's a ship, and it takes a lot of people to run that ship. And it takes a lot of like, you want that detail to make it really look like you are on a working fucking galleon ship. Then you need to like be, your placement and everything needs to be perfect. And I think maybe, to your earlier point about how the cinematography feels very anonymous and not Polanski's, because I don't think he also knew how to direct, how to shoot people that weren't like more than 3 or 4 people at a time. So we always have these rooms that are like filled with like 12 people at a time, and it's like we're right here, medium close-ups constantly, and it's like, what are we doing? We need to breathe here. We need to be able to like let these actors act and like move and be a part of the scenery, but they're not. They're all just standing there awkwardly around each other.
Yeah. Well, and it's telling too. His big World War II movie, The Pianist, is another apartment film. And the scenes of warfare in that are actually like really fascinating because of the way that he stages them as through a window, and it's a small scale kind of street battle that's absurd in the way that things play out. There's like a kind of geometric, beautiful absurdity to the way that the sort of warfare in The Pianist ends up playing out most of the time. And it's all this, it's mostly one guy. It's mostly Adrian Brody by himself,
just hanging out, watching.
Yeah, watching. Yeah. So, maybe this, as much as he loved this stuff as a kid, it just runs against his grain. And the big action scenes where he really could be leaving a lot to fight choreographers,
so dull.
They just look like messes. They're not. Yeah. It's just a bunch of people like grappling with each other and swords flying.
And repetitively. It is repetitive. Like I at one point there was a sword fight happening on the deck, and I had gotten up to go in the kitchen, which is just in the other room, just to grab some water. And I was listening, and I could it was the same 5 like beats like of the swords hitting each other over and over and over. Like I could hear. I'm like, why does this? I'm picking up a pattern at this point. Which tells me he would told them all basically to like, okay, do this, like this move, this move, this move, this move, and then just keep doing it over and over again just to keep sure you're moving. But it's like, that's not how you direct a choreo. That's not how you choreograph. That's not choreographing at all. And that's not how you stage a scene like that. Like you need to be moving around with it. There's no interesting camera moves. We're not following anybody. We're just getting weird kind of like not even real wide shots of any of this major action happening.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's not even an action movie. Like you mentioned, Spencer and Jess, like the action that is there, I would almost prefer it not be. Like
right.
It just takes up time. And I don't
it slows it down.
And I don't understand this either, but so Walter Matthau's character, Captain Red, has a peg leg. Is it Walter Matthau when it's those shots from behind, or is it a stunt double doing all the walking on deck and stuff when it's not?
So I want to say that it's probably a stunt double, because in that same remark that I saw about him saying, the reasons he didn't initially want to do the movie, and one of them was him saying like, oh, having to be around on a peg leg and in the water all day sounds awful. So yeah, I bet that there was probably a double for at least some of those,
right?
Sequences.
Like this is a 56-year-old guy with a peg leg. Like I don't know, like your lead has a peg leg. You've already limited what we can believe that he's going to be able to believably do within the context of the movie. So that's why they give us Chris Campion, who we have not even talked about. If that gives you an idea of how
he's such a non-entity.
He's not. He could have like you mentioned, Spencer, with Orlando Bloom. He could have been the charismatic one to what Walter Matthau was doing with this kind of.
He was supposed to be that. I'm sure that's what his character was supposed to be. Because he's the one that falls in love with the girl falls in love with him. He's the younger one. He's Jean-Baptiste. He's the one that for all intents and purposes would be the Orlando Bloom or whatever, the straight man to what Walter Matthau should have been as a funny man, as an over the top pirate. That dynamic, but he's so dull and just one-dimensional. And I don't know if that's a fault of Polanski's for not directing him well. I don't know if that's a fault of his for, just
it's not like the miscasting of Matthau, because it's not as if, there's this amazing young star who was the guy you have to have. Like that ain't it either, So it's just miscasting. It's just like, the part isn't particularly well written, but with somebody really charismatic, doing the stunts and getting around and whatnot, it could be kind of fun. But
and the sheepish moments could have actually felt like they were earned. Like when Chris Campion and the only, like just mentioned, the only female character in the movie are underneath the bed together, and they have that kind of scene. Like it could have been kind of cute, but it ends up just being like, why does she care about him? Why does he care about her? What chemistry do they have? None. He has no charisma. Look, they had mentioned when Michael Caine was attached to the movie, Rob Lowe was going to play the sidekick.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and you know what?
Yeah. That would have been better.
Yeah. At least it would have been something.
Oh, for sure.
More than this.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, like, I don't love him, but you could throw Carrie Elways in that space and it would work fine. Like, I mean, like, just there were people to choose from in 1986. Like, Kiefer Sutherland. Choose Kiefer Sutherland.
Fair. Is it the prestige play to have Walter Matthau in your movie? Is that what it is? Like, I don't get what a 56-year-old man would be offering to this role at this time in his career. Because
he was a big star, but it just doesn't, I don't know who shows up for Walter Matthau in a pirate movie in 1986. And maybe I misjudged, but I like,
Dads.
For sure he was like a big draw for certain kinds of comedies and whatnot. Like he's fine, but, no, even at his age and everything, it's like he could be playing the comical weirdo, which it would seem like that's what he's supposed to be. Especially if Frog was cast with somebody, more conventionally swashbuckling and, got to do some interesting things. But yeah, it's just kind of mysterious, and it doesn't. I mean, Polanski doesn't really make meta choices, so it's not stun casting in that kind of meta sort of way. It's just like what was everybody thinking? Like how did it end up this way? Michael Caine makes sense. Nicholson makes sense, but Matthau, like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how we went there. I don't know how
I'm sorry, Chris.
There.
My brain is broken by this movie.
It's fucking crazy. Because there's just, when you think about Treasure Island and you have Hawkins and Long John Silver, right? You have the young guy and the old pirate. So you have that dynamic here. And that dynamic, if that had been what it was, and Walter Matthau had been kind of incorrigible, but, you hate to love him type thing, kind of like, I mean, Long John Silver's the antagonist in Treasure Island, but, I mean, again, he's kind of like Tim Curry in Muppets Treasure Island. Like, you hate to love the guy. He's not he's not
a charismatic villain.
Right.
Yeah.
In this
charismatic anti-hero.
Right. When you've got Walter Matthau, it's just like, are you not putting in any effort? Is it a poorly written script? I think we've erred on the side of it being a very poorly written script, and I think that obviously has a lot to do with it.
But he didn't shoot it.
I think also given Mathau's, distaste for the movie to begin with, I feel like he was not putting in any real kind of effort behind this role.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he doesn't feel it.
Well, not when you're like, well, my son said I should take this role. Like, what a great way to be casting things, huh? God, like, what a fucking mistake. What a strange mistake. Yeah. And you know what? I have not seen a whole lot of Polanski either. I've seen a couple things. Like, you guys are waxing poetically about Polanski. I'm like, I've seen Rosemary's Baby and The Ninth Gate. And that's it. So,
and this makes The Ninth Gate look really amazing.
I might be remembering that movie a tad bit more fondly than it really deserves.
Well, it's not like it's. Yeah, I wouldn't call The Ninth Gate terrible, but that's hardly top tier Polanski.
Right? No.
Man, wow. This is definitely the worst Polanski I've seen, and it's definitely.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So, starting with you, Spencer, and then to Jess, what is the best Polanski you've seen? And then, secondary question: is there a pirate movie that you like that isn't Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, good questions. Whichever the best Polanski movies that I've seen most recently tend to be my favorite, but I gotta say The Tenant is just almost inexhaustible for me. I think that might be my favorite Polanski, but I'm gonna call out Bitter Moon again because that's like a deeper cut, and a lot of people even hate it, but I think Bitter Moon is fucking phenomenal, and that's another movie on a boat. It has such a weird, fucked up, dark sense of humor, and it's so pervy. And I don't know, Bitter Moon is that's some good stuff. But a favorite pirate movie. That's a really good question. Like as a little kid, it's probably not very good, but I'm gonna. Just because it's been on my mind when we were talking about Treasure Island, the weird like 70s Treasure Island with Orson Welles as Long John Silver, I actually have some affection for, but my affection is probably greater because I haven't seen it in a long time, decades. But I do remember being kind of charmed by that. The Disney the Disney Treasure Island is also it looks good. That's like not a great movie, but it looks really good. It's got a good. I guess I like Treasure Island. I guess that's my answer. Different versions of Treasure Island work pretty well for me. As a Rennie Harlan fan, I'll commit. Rennie Harlan fan. Cutthroat Island is terrible, but I've seen it a few times. I don't know. The pirate movies are interesting. I want to like pirate movies. I guess if we could get something from Sam Raimi that was on the order of Army of Darkness done as a pirate movie, I feel like that would be pretty great. That would be right up my alley. But it doesn't exist. That's just that's me wishing for something like people wish for ice water in hell.
I say Sam Raimi may be too far into the Marvel fold now to do anything else.
Oh no, don't remind me. It's so depressing.
Hey man, now that you're in the fold, we fucking own you.
but after the first 3 Spider-Man movies, he did make Drag Me to Hell, which renewed my faith that good Sam Raimi movies could still happen. So even post Doctor Strange, I'm willing to hope for another weird little Drag Me to Hell kind of movie. That would be great. But I've taken up so much time here. What about you guys and your?
Yeah, what about you, Jess?
Okay, so favorite Polanski. I would have Tenet way far up there. The Tenet is fantastic. Repulsion, as I mentioned. Repulsion is probably the favorite, I would say. I really liked Carnage that came out in when was that? Like 2011 with Kate Winslet. And oh my god, it is talk about sparse cast. It's got 4 fucking people in it, but it's based on a play, and I really like that one as well. But as far as like original Roman Polanski movies go, it's gonna be The Tenet and Repulsion. Favorite pirate movie that's not a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Treasure Planet.
Yeah.
Slim fucking pickings. I feel like once you take the Pirates of the Caribbean
Honestly,
movies out, it's like
I googled pirate movies because I'm like, there have to be other ones that I have seen, and most of them are from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
When it was prime time, and then like you have a few here and there. You have like, you know, all the variations of Treasure Planet or of Treasure Island, and you know, Captain Hook and Peter Pan and all of those things.
Oh, is that a pirate movie technically? Is Hook technically a pirate movie?
Oof.
I mean, yes. It came up in the thing.
I know that Hook is beloved, but that is,
I don't love it. It's fine.
That for me is lowest tier Spielberg. That's indefensible Spielberg. I won't go there.
It's almost a Spielberg movie that I forget is directed by him.
Exactly.
Spielberg movie, yeah.
In the same way that this movie is directed by Roman Polanski, apparently. Like, yeah.
But there are slim pickings, but I will say that I think of modern pirate things. I mean, it's Our Flag Means Death for me. I think that does it's talk about like, you know, a comedy swashbuckling adventure. I think that it really hits all of those notes. I think that it gets to play in a world that is just adult enough, but it also plays in a wholesome world that really like kind of, you know, brings it home to everybody. And that's probably where I would put my favorite pirate, you know, current pirate properties or modern pirate properties, as
I'm
going to
throw out one more. The crazy, the Crimson Permanent Assurance short film that invades Monty Python's meaning of life. The Terry Gilliam, like, corporate raiders pirate movie is pretty fucking great. Like,
it is pretty dope. That's the best raid of an office ever.
It's really, really good. And there's they like, of course, because it's Terry Gilliam, like it's played as like wacky and funny, but then like when they stab each other, there's real blood that flies through the air and everything. And it's the Crimson Permanent Assurance short on that invades meaning of life is that is a fucking great pirate movie, and I wish that there was I would take a feature of that. I would totally take a feature of like, you know, buildings moving around.
Siege movie.
Yeah, captained by crazy corporate raiders that attack other buildings and take them over. That would be a great feature.
Again, like I've mentioned, I've seen all of like 2, maybe 3 Polanski movies. The 2 that I can remember being Rosemary's Baby and The Ninth Gate. So my answer is going to be Rosemary's Baby, which is a cop out, and it's a total
no, but it's great.
It's a cop out, but like if you're gonna cop out for fucking Rosemary's Baby.
Absolutely,
right. It's the movie that all the other movies of that genre undoubtedly and unfairly in a lot of ways get compared to, but in a lot of ways it's a just comparison because it's kind of the one that set the bar for the what's going on? Are my neighbors out to get me? I mean, it's playing in things that other movies would do just as good or in some respects better, but it's all of it together and how Polanski puts it together and how he stays true to the source material while giving it his own flavor. That, I mean, again, like, you know, Rosemary's Baby is one of the great movies ever made. So to say, Rosemary's Baby is my favorite Polanski's like,
and look, I mean, like, I love Rosemary's Baby. I love Chinatown. Like, those are all
amazing.
Great.
Okay, so that's 3. That's 3. I've seen Chinatown, and you know what? I might actually say Chinatown just because I like Jack Nicholson and reading the book about Chinatown.
Oh yeah,
enhanced my enjoyment of the movie.
That my guy. Oof.
Yeah.
Chinatown's great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do you think Roman Polanski ripped out any of Walter Matthau's hair on set?
Probably not.
He might have wanted to. I mean, the stuff that I've
hit
read
him with
about
the peg leg a couple times.
The stuff I've read about Walter Matthau, not fun to work with. Like,
he seems like he would be exactly the character he's known for, as being a curmudgeonly old man. Seems like that is what he is.
No, like really seriously, the stuff I've read about him, he's like he sounded like a particularly nasty actor. He's
just like a pain in the ass to work with.
Oh, total pain in the ass and like a big diva. And the book about Mike Nichols that came out, the Mark Harris book about Mike Nichols, because Nichols worked with him on like The Odd Couple on Broadway, and he sounded just terrible.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you know, they're a dime a dozen, right? I was gonna say Peter Falk, you probably put him in that category of people that are kind of hard to work with, right?
Yeah, but he like super terrorized Art Carney, like
Who, Walter Matthau did?
Walter Matthau terrorized Art Carney. Yeah, he was like it wasn't just that he was difficult to work with, he was also like super mean to his co-star and like put him in the hospital with like, he was like
stress.
Yeah, the stress forced him into the hospital, and I'm like, wow, that's a bad man to have on your set. Walter Matthau putting Art Carney in the hospital,
putting Harry and Tonto in the goddamn hospital. What is wrong?
That is not okay. And also, Art Carney is one of the funniest goddamn human beings that ever lived.
Right?
So no good.
Well, I again, like Jess mentioned, like you just mentioned, Spencer, I'm not surprised.
No, it's not a surprise.
Look, of the two of the odd couple duo, Jack Lemmon has always been the one I resonate with, only because he, as Shelley the Machine Levine, is one of my favorite roles of all time. Just the most miserable, pathetic piece of shit.
I love Jack Lemmon. I totally love Jack Lemmon. An amazing actor with one of the best headstones on his grave ever. Do you know Jack Lemmon's headstone?
I don't know.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So
maybe
it just says Jack Lemmon in.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, really, really good.
And look, he has a character based off of him on The Simpsons that's been immortalized forever. I mean, that's who. Oh, Gil. I mean, that's literally just Jack Lemmon, like from Glengarry Glen Ross. So I'm thankful that you all joined me for this episode. But yes, this has been a particularly nasty film to talk about. So, Jess, I'll kick it to you first. Final thoughts on Roman Polanski's Pirates, because let's not forget whose movie it is, and he deserves all the credit that he needs for it.
No, this movie is boring as sin, as I've said, and there's absolutely no reason to watch it ever at all. Not even one time.
No,
Spencer.
I'm gonna say, if you want a comical Roman Polanski deep cut, go for What, which is also not good, but at least that's an interesting. That's an interesting sort of.
Or Fearless Vampire Killers.
What's that?
I said, or Fearless Vampire Killers.
Fearless Vampire Killers. We'll treat that as like that's a good one. That's and not as deep a cut. But this is terrible. This is a terrible movie.
Look, I can't help but echo everything both of y'all have said. Obviously, I picked this movie for the month. This is one of the months that I programmed, so the blood is on my hands, as they would say. But ultimately,
this one is going to be the first one out of the gate, then, right?
You're
stuck. You didn't record any others first.
No, nothing else has been recorded. So this is the starting place of the month. We have.
And what is the rest of the month?
Yellowbeard. Pirate
Excellent.
Radio, otherwise known as The Ship That Rocked.
Right.
Savage Islands, and then both of y'all will be back to round out the month with me to talk The Island, which is based off of a Peter Benchley novel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm excited about The Island.
I can't remember. I don't remember if I've seen The Island or not. So I don't.
You probably haven't then.
I probably haven't. Well, maybe.
I'll be interested to see it again. It's been years and years for me, but the Island, I'll save it until we meet up for that one. But The Island is
until we meet again on the pirate ship.
Hope to God it's better than this, because boy, if I'm in for it this month, when we talk about Pirates of the Caribbean at some point, maybe this month, as opposed to just alluding to it on every episode, which is more than likely what's going to happen. We'll probably have more positive things to say, but it is ironic that we're going to be talking about The Island later in the month, and that is a movie that stars Michael fucking Caine.
It does.
Is it like a Dr. Moreau Island type deal?
No,
okay.
It's modern pirates.
Okay.
All
right, then no, I haven't seen it.
And I guess no. I'll save up until we get there.
A month from now.
Yeah, a month from now. So on that note, we will take a break and play a preview for the next Kulturecast of March.
Take some of Marty's pet pythons. Like Graham Chapman here today, going tomorrow. John Cleese, he's out of sight as blind Pew. Eric Idle, great job, kid. Just knocked me out. Put him together with Chong and Cheech.
What did you say?
And all the crazies who kept young Frankenstein in stitches, like Madeline Kahn. Love you, love you, love you. Peter Boyle, he could use a big hand, folks. And Marty Feldman, here's looking at you, kid. Throw in some cheap jokes, some sheep jokes. Trust me, folks, it's a shipload of laughs. Yellowbeard, rated PG.
Now playing at a theater near you.
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about the aforementioned Yellowbeard, which I'm already, I'm chomping at the bit. Okay, I'm so excited now that I know it's going to be terrible. So just fucking 5 terrible movies in a row.
It's going to be so much better than this, though. I promise you.
I feel like this is the month that I'll remember this year where it's like, what was I fucking thinking? Like, I missed the boat by a fucking country mile. So on that episode, I will be joined by Father Malone and Heather Drain. Until then, Spencer, if people are looking for you on the internet, where can they find you?
Oh, well, you know, I'm enjoying. I'm still enjoying the flames of Twitter. You know, just the horrible Elon Musk meltdown that is Twitter. It's not quite as exciting as it was in the early days, but I guess that's where you can find me online until that goes away, and then I probably won't be on any social media anymore because it's I'm not loving social media. But I'll go down with the ship of Twitter.
You and the rest of us, I think.
Yeah.
Jess, what about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at writer Jess Byard. You can find all the things that I do on there. You can also find me on other episodes of other podcasts with Chris, such as our podcast Scary Stories We Tell, and the podcast where we watch all kinds of Bollywood movies. What's that called again?
Bollywood Cinema Club.
Yeah,
that's what it's called. You can find me along with some of the aforementioned shows over at weirdingwaymedia.com, including but not limited to this show, the Bollywood Cinema Club, Scary Stories We Tell, and a whole raft of other things that you should be checking out. As for this show, Kulturecast.com, Patreon.com, all the places you can go to help us out, but wherever you get the show, like, rate, and review. That's the least you have to do to have the biggest impact. Spencer, Jess, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry.
Misery loves company.
Exactly.
I'm just surprised we had so much to talk about.
You know, in a lot of ways, I can't help but agree. So until then, we'll catch you on the next episode.